Andology, challenging convention.
Let's do it. You got that loud enough? Oi! Hey? Is that what you've been doing all day then, is it? Just gaming on the Area 51M? No. I get you. Been doing all sorts. Right, okay, like what? Stuff. Okay. Well, dude, don't forget you're supposed to be doing the Area 51M Part 3 review, right? Yeah, I'm testing it. Testing it? Well, okay, while you're testing it, if you hadn't read the comments, there's a load of people out there waiting to see the Part 3. You know, things like the fan noise, alien FX, the configuration. It's alright, I'll get it done. Next crash. What's that, 10 seconds for your flying, isn't it? Yeah, whatever, very funny. Freshly ironed shirt up there for you as well. Oh man, now look what you made me do.
Challenging convention.
Welcome and thank you for joining me for this part 3 of my Area 51M review, the best gaming laptop from another planet. Now, first of all, I'd like to thank all of my subscribers. I really appreciate the support of the channel, and the part 2 review of the Area 51M, which I'll link up here, I must say the comment section absolutely epic, so thank you to all those that contributed towards that. Let's see if we can keep the same thing going on this part 3 review. And for those that are new here, my name's Andy and this is the Andology channel. Today what we're going to be doing is looking at the Area 51M. We're going to first start off with the boot speed. We'll have a look at my first impressions. We'll get into things like the Alien FX and so on. So anything else, part 4, part 5. So if you're not subscribed, hit the button and make sure you set notifications, because then you're not going to miss any of the videos that are going to be coming up very soon after this one. So for the time being, stick with me. Let's get into it. Area 51M review, part 3. So here we are, all set up, ready to rock and roll. Got the Rode mic as well, so that we can hear exactly what she sounds like when she boots up. A couple of things to note. First of all, I've reset the Alienware FX on the Area 51M now, so that basically it's the default settings. So whatever it looks like in terms of the lighting, it's all kind of how it was when it first arrived. So you can see what it originally looked like, and then of course once we get to desktop, I'll start playing around in some of the software there and show you some bits and pieces, and of course included in that, I'll take you over the Alienware FX and I'll show you how I've sort of configured it myself. Other thing to note as well is that I upgraded to Windows 10 Professional. I didn't do it through the DELL website options because it was like 60 odd quid, maybe 80 quid or $80 or something for Windows 10 Professional. So I went with Windows 10 Home, but what I did is I bought a serial key for Windows 10 Professional on eBay, $5. And I did that when I booted up first time. When I activated it, I simply used the serial key that I got on eBay. It's genuine, but it's not 60 quid. And that went pretty well, so it just upgrades it automatically, upgrades it to Pro, and downloads all the files that you need in the background. So that was pretty seamless. So that's about it. And what I'll do, I'll start it up and we've got the stopwatch set up, so we'll see how long it takes to boot. And then I'll shift out of the way and I'll bring it in close, and I'll switch to a shot of it close so you can see exactly how it looks booting up. And then when we get to desktop, I'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about it and start getting into some juicy bits. So here we go. I'll make that about 19 seconds, I think. And that's it. That's as loud as it gets. You hear it when it first starts up, it's just a bit of it's like a sexy lady blowing on your neck. But literally that's about as intense as it gets. Now I've got the profile set up as silent. The great thing about the Alienware FX software is that you can choose your own fan profiles. And so personally for me, I've done silent at the moment because that's why I have the water cooled system, don't forget, it's because I like it to be quiet. And it is so quiet that it's actually caused me an issue. Remember I said earlier about my external hard drive was an issue? Well, the issue is that's the loudest thing in the room now. Literally, I mean, it's been sat there for like 5 years or whatever with my main desktop, and it's been, you know, running. I haven't really noticed it because of the sort of just the ambient background noise of the water-cooled PC. You know, you've got water pumps, you've got fans, and all sorts of business going on. And so when I actually got to the point where I had it all set up and running, all I could hear was the external hard drive, and so I actually shifted it over into the shelf over there, which meant that it was a little bit more out of the way, and even then I could still hear it over the Area 51M, and so I ended up having to go to the lengths of So anyway, very quiet, super happy. Check out the Tobii Eye Tracking, by the way. You see that it's dimmed down the screen, right? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at it, and the Tobii Eye Tracking is going to see that my eyes are looking at it, and it will fade it up. You ready? Like it. So I have had a little play around with it, but you know. So anyway, that's where we've got to so far. So what I'm going to do, we'll get the microphone out of the way. I will give you a little bit of a demonstration of the fans when we go into the fan profile in the Alienware FX, and we'll bring the microphone back in. But let's get it out of the way, and you know, we'll start getting our things together. I'm going to need to plug her back in just like we had it before as a desktop setup with all the 4 screens, and then obviously I can take you through some of the software and the bugs and these sorts of things. But before we get to that, I just wanted to say, sort of replicating my experience really as a continuation from the unboxing. When I first booted it up, I think the first thing that I noticed was when it got to desktop, you know, the trackpad, the way it lights up, just beautiful. I love it. And of course, you know, I've done a slightly different colour scheme here myself, but you know, I'll show you that in a minute. But no, I just thought I'd mention it's that there's just something about the presence of it that, I don't know, you just open it up and you just feel straight away like it's a premium product, you know, and you'd be really proud to open that in, you know, in an office with other people around you. In terms of my first impressions when I opened it up and, you know, started using it, of course, as I mentioned in the unboxing, the keyboard, absolutely beautiful. Really, really nice feeling it is. Very responsive. Of course, I'm using my desktop setup with my main keyboard, but so I haven't used the keyboard actually in an amazing amount. But it is nice feeling. The trackpad seems very responsive as well, and the 144 Hz screen, I could tell straight away by the way that the mouse moved around, and I'll do a demonstration of that in a minute. Comparing it to the Full HD TV, which is 60 Hz. So that's like basically the equivalent of the 60 Hz option for the Area 51M. So I'll do that in a minute, and I'll show you kind of how that looks, the difference. But I think in terms of the only things that I didn't like was, I say didn't like, I think the only things that, like for example, this bezel here being glossy. You know, they went to all the effort to make the bezel quite thin, but then making it glossy, it kind of getting that glare back in the situation, right? I think that could have been, you know, it's a non-glare panel, but yet the bezel's glossy. So, don't know about that. And the other thing as well is that as a result of that glossiness, if you're at the right angle, the sort of angle that you see down, you can see underneath the keys. So you see the RGB LEDs underneath the keys in full brightness, because you're sort of seeing underneath. So you're seeing the actual LED element itself emitting, and so it's quite bright, and it sort of gets you. You've got to be in a bit of a funny position to see it, but you know, that's about all I can say in terms of its, you know, not being ideal. And in terms of it being suboptimal, it's just I could have done with doing that a bit more matte. But other than that, you know, the actual presence of it is lovely. And of course, you know, as I mentioned before, the feeling of the magnesium alloy is much nicer than the magnesium alloy on my M18X. So yeah, really, really nice feeling. And the trackpad's slightly different texture, it's smoother. So, and the other thing as well In my unboxing video, I did say, and I made a mistake, but it's actually a mistake that everyone seems to be making, is I referred to the microphones on here as being stereo microphones, but they're not. I tested them in Adobe Audition by, scratching or, rubbing around each one and then checking on the actual waveform, and sure enough, it's not stereo microphones, it's just a microphone array. And so there's, don't expect to get sort of left and right as you move your head around. That's, to be honest, that was kind of what I was expecting. I was quite excited about that opportunity, but it's mono but dual microphones, and you usually have an array, a microphone array, specifically for, it helps with things like voice recognition. That's the main reason for it. So they're the main things. That was my first impressions when I first opened it. Was the Rgb LED lighting, I think, is more than bright enough. Some people have said they don't think it's the brightest in the world, but I don't think you'd want it any brighter than that anyway. And of course, there's full control over that in the Alienware FX, which we'll get into. But yeah, so that was my first impression. Absolutely lovely. There's nothing about it that I don't like. This glossy bezel is no biggie, but it's just. I questioned it, that was all. I really love any product that gives you that freedom to be able to customise exactly how you like it, and the Area 51M is definitely one of those products. From a hardware point of view as well, you get that freedom to upgrade the CPU and the GPU, very unique indeed. But what I also love about the Area 51M is just the amount of control you get over the RGB lighting. And so that's what we're going to be doing now, is I'm going to take you into the Alien FX, which is the tool that we use to configure the lighting. And I'll be able to show you exactly how far we can go with the configuration. Now, for those that aren't aware, I run a series of video production tips and tricks and behind the scenes videos. And the last one that I did is actually me doing the video production for this next segment that you're going to see coming up. So if that's something that you think you might be interested in, if you're a video creator or you're just interested to see what goes on behind the scenes when I make one of these videos, there's a link up here for you that I'll put, and also in the description. Definitely go and check that out. You should like it if that's the kind of thing you're into as well. But in the meantime, I'm going to get my Lazy Susan out, which is like a spinny platter thing, and I'll put the Area 51M onto that, and then I'll be able to spin her around as I show you the tool with the Alien FX, and you'll be able to see exactly which areas that we can configure and how it kind of looks. So let's get into that now. So this is the Alienware Command Center, which contains all of the tools you'll need to configure your Area 51M. Now down the bottom here you'll notice we have the overclocking profiles, the fan profiles and so on. In a future part of this series I'll be covering that in quite a lot of detail, so definitely look out for that. For now we're going to be focusing on the FX part, which is the Alien FX configuration for the RGB lighting. On the left hand panel here you'll notice we've got the themes, and I've got a whole bunch here that I've set up already. This is primarily for the purposes of video production, and again, those that saw that video will understand what these are here for, but it gives you an easy way of just jumping into a different theme, and you'll notice it updates that on the graphic here to show you what the theme is going to look like. But today what we'll do is look at the default theme. This is how it comes looking when you first open it up, and the tick button here is for activating the theme, and the edit icon here, as you'd imagine, for editing. So we'll just make sure this is the theme that's activated. And then we'll use the edit icon here to jump in and edit this particular theme. This is the main theme configuration window. Just give you familiarization. You've got the main area here where we can select which item you want to actually change. You can select the item itself, or you can select these tags. And also up here we've got these quick link bars. And on the left hand side we've got the color palette. So there's various ways to go about this. You've got the preset colors, so pretty straightforward. Tap on one of them, bosh, green. Let's go red and blue. That's more of a purple. And back to green. And also here you'll see you've got the option to just enter in an actual RGB value, which is pretty good. So if you've got a logo color that you want to match up to, or something on your desk that you want to match it into, you've got all those options there. And of course here as well you've got the brightness. So if you want to match in the brightness to, if it's a little bit too distracting, you've got that option too. And on the right hand side here is where we select between the different objects that we want to change. And so the back view, we've got the alien face. Equally, we can just select that, and let's say for example go yellow, and we'll spin that around, and hey presto, it's yellow. And the Tron light is a beautiful design. I really like the Tron light. I think they've done a great job there. So for example, we can do that pink, and let's say the face we can do, let's go for a blue. And look at that, pretty and pink. It's a really nice shade of pink actually, I must say. And also you've got options, so as well as, like, let's go back to the Tron light, and you can see here, as well as the colours, we've got the effects. So solid colour, pulse, or like for example spectrum, and if we spin that around you'll see that it kind of cycles through the rainbow colours. And as well as that, you can actually control the speed at which it does it. I'll demonstrate that on the trackpad. So let's go trackpad, we'll go spectrum, and you can see here how it flows through the colours. That's medium speed, this is fast, then let's go slow. Beautiful. So they're the options you got for that, and there's one here called pulse actually. Check this out. Look, if we do that, let's say white, look at that. I've got no idea why you might want to do that with your trackpad. It's awfully distracting, but there you go. That's an option there if you want to get a disco going. Let's go back to red, and then up the right here is where we've got the option for the keyboard layout, and this is where we can select individual keys if we want to configure them. So for example, we can select the letter Y, and let's say make the letter Y red, and sure enough the letter Y has turned red and yellow and so on. So you've got that per key capability, which I really like, and there is a convenient up here, you've got letters grouped, so to select various things like the number pad all in one go, you can just select that, and there's the number pad. For example, we can change that to red, which is how I have it in my own custom theme which I've put together. So let's show you that now. We'll just pop back to the main, we won't save that default, and we'll jump into my Andology one. We just need to simply activate it, and then we can jump into the edit. And so this is how I've set up the keyboard here. I've gone for white keys for the arrows, and the enter key we've got as white, and things like the delete key and function keys are red. So, you know, awful lot of options there for configuring it. And on the rear I have the Tron light in red and the alien face in white. So, you know, theoretically everybody's Area 51M should look different. So if you go into a massive gaming session and there's like 10 people there with Area 51Ms, you should be able to determine which one's yours by your beautiful custom graphics that you've set up. I've had a good old play around with this actually. I really enjoy you know, customizing things like this. It's a great idea that they've included this as part of it. But what I've actually done is I've gone ahead and created a whole sequence of video recording each individual colour segment individually. And so what I'll now be able to do is to demonstrate what exactly all these colours are by selecting all the zones, and then just literally colouring all the zones in, let's say for example red and yellow, and then we can cycle through and I can show you exactly what each of these preset colours look like in real life.
Please like, share and subscribe.